Why are Zimbabweans so fascinated by what is evil? I've often thought about this based on what I see, as far as how the people respond to certain personas or certain people who embody evil type of ideas, what you would loosely call evil. Because we're not necessarily getting into the nitty-gritties of what evil is or what good is, but we're just speaking of it quite loosely, because sometimes some people may do things that are evil on the surface, but when you really get down to it, when you really study more about the reasons why they did it, it might turn out that they had ideas of a greater good in mind. So essentially they were doing good, but at the cost of them doing something that may look evil at the surface, but in fact they were doing God's work. So we're not looking at good and evil from that standpoint, but we're looking at it from the standpoint of just plain evil. Certain people are just not great people. I really believe that. I believe certain people have already sold their soul. They've sold who they are. They don't care about how many people they hurt. They don't care the destruction that they bring to a nation or to the world and so forth. I believe there are people like that. Such people are already dead and gone. They know that certain choices that they've made have branded them as just being a lost cause. There's no hope for redemption for certain people. So that's the kind of evil I'm talking about, where you're dealing with certain personas or certain entities that you know simply have no chance for redemption. And now, of course, people will say, well, only God knows. Yes, that's true, only God knows, but we're looking at it as human beings with our understanding of what we're talking about. So yes, I'm talking about those types of evil people. Many people within our nation, I can't know everybody, I'm just talking about what I observe. A lot of people in our nation seem to have this fascination for what is evil. Now, fascination in itself, is nothing wrong with being fascinated. I mean, sometimes fascination is just wanting to know more about something, wanting to study something more. You know, you're just basically attracted to a certain thing just because you want to know more about it. I've found that our people are very fascinated by evil personas and just evil in general. But this type of fascination goes beyond just wanting to know more, but it goes more toward the people just having this urge to toy with evil personas or evil people, especially when it comes to the political landscape. When you study the political history of this country, you'll find that a lot of personas who were politically powerful and so on, and who had a certain air around them, were also personas who were linked to certain evil deeds and just a plain cruelty within them. Those are the very people that the people of this country appear to be fascinated by and to have an attraction toward. In fact, it's almost like the people who are thought of as evil have more popularity. They have more of everything. They have the pull. They pull the crowd more. Even though people will come up and they'll say all these horrible things about these people that they are calling evil, at the same time, they will give them a massive share of their attention. So this is what I'm talking about, that proclivity or that attraction that our people have toward evil personas, or people who embody certain evil traits, or just people who are known to be plain diabolical. Those are the personas that attract the people of this country. Now, it would be unfair to just look at this as a Zimbabwean problem, because I actually think it's a world problem, and it comes from Hollywood. You'll find that when we were just growing up, all our lives, we've been very much hooked on to Hollywood. And what Hollywood has tended to do is that it has made films in a way that makes us root for the evil guy, right? A lot of the times, I mean, it's mental manipulation, it's emotional manipulation. They do it in such a way that people feel a certain sadness or a certain love for the evil guy. Somehow they find a way to make that evil person a sympathetic figure. I believe that's where a lot of this attraction or fascination comes from. It comes from years and years of mental manipulation, people being entrained to love or to have sympathy for people who embody a certain type of evil persona within them, or just a natural evil that they have. Like, people have been taught, like, well, there's got to be something nice about them. So, oh, the evil guy, oh, maybe he was hurt, hurt people. So we must find reasons to explain why this guy has turned out. So see, we humanize this evil, diabolical spirit within people. We want to humanize that. And so I believe that's where this fascination is coming from. So just as I study what I see in the world and how people react to certain people who have all these gigantic stories of the evil that they have done, either within the country or just within the world, you'll find that people are fascinated by that. People make that person into some type of icon, hero even, or someone that they should align themselves to. Maybe that comes from a fear that they might become victims themselves. So they kind of feel unconsciously that, listen, if I align myself to this person, or if I vote this person, somehow, my spirit is going to be aligned to this person so they can never hurt me. I don't know where it comes from, because I've never understood why our people have had a fascination toward people associated by evil, which means that if people were to go for elections and there's someone who's purely evil and someone who's purely good, the people will go for the person that's purely evil. And I say this because, you see, evil tends to masquerade as good as well, you see. Evil tends to masquerade as good. But I don't think the people are fooled, because one can say, well, the people are voting for the evil guy because the evil guy has been able to present himself or herself as a good person. So the people are thinking, well, this is a good person somehow. Something about them is good. Yes, we've heard all the evil, but they've demonstrated to us that they are redeemed. So that's why we're voting for this person. See, that can be the argument. That lack of a discerning spirit. If the people are going to lack the spirit of discernment, then they will be attracted to evil every time. They will always fall for the evil persona or for the personality who embodies that evil, diabolical spirit that has caught the people's imagination. It's always some evil guy somewhere who's been made into an idol, into some type of person to somehow admire and even make films about, and all of these things. But when you look at their history, you find that, man, that person has indeed bagged a lot of people, and he has killed a lot of people, has been involved in the murder of a lot of people. Because we know a lot of the times when suppose you have an evil dictator, when people say, well, he never killed nobody. No, but of course we know that it's orders that may have come from that person, or he has created an atmosphere where people around him feel that they need to kill for him. He doesn't have to tell those people to kill, or he doesn't have to directly kill himself, but people kill in his name, in his honor. Our people really are fascinated by evil personalities, and a lot of people will capitalize on that, because there are certain people who already know that the people are fascinated by evil. And that's exactly what they bring to the people.
If we conducted ourselves differently, including those who are inflicting so much pain on the majority of us, we wouldn't be where we are. So we are responsible by commission or by omission.
I'm not really a proponent for the law of attraction. I mean, I understand that, yes, there's some truth to it. The law of attraction, where they talk about what you are attracted to is what becomes real. What you fear the most is what becomes real, you know. What you idolize in your mind, as in, oh, you know, all of these things that go through your head that may be evil and so on, that's what you're going to confront in your actual life, right? And so sometimes it may come in the form of someone who leads you as a people, who then is that embodiment of that collective evil that you have projected to the world and then brought upon yourself, right? That is the reality that the people confront in their lives, that they have to constantly be dealing with evil personas. And because the people inwardly know that they have a natural fascination for what is evil, they themselves embody that evil, and that is what they attract to themselves. They always used to say opposites attract, but like attracts. Evil people attract evil people. There's that as well. Bad things also happen to good people because we are amongst an evil generation, right? So what evil comes toward them in some way is also within our space, even though we may be protected from that evil. It's a thought I had this morning. Our attraction to what is evil is what we are confronting as a people. It's what we're confronting. People will say, oh, we love this particular political leader because, you know, he's the man of the people. But when you actually study that adored and loved political figure, you find that he has, or she, because I don't want you to think I'm talking about, you know, somebody so that some of your crazy people will you know, I don't know what you would think. But there are certain political personalities or figures who are serial party creators. They continuously create and leave parties and go and create a new one because that is how they operate. That's their MO. That is just how they operate, you know, moving from this political party to the next political party, getting people together around a certain belief, then dump those people after they are infiltrated, in quotes and so on. That comes with a certain evil within that person, where they know that, look, I have got a hold on these people, so I can manipulate them. I can have them rally around me and my beliefs and so on, so that I create a trap for their mind. And when the time is right, I simply desert and I go and I keep doing this for the rest of my life, or for however long it takes, up until the people wake up. That comes with the particular type of evil. People love that. People idolize evil. The people will vote for the devil. World over, people are voting for devils anyway. The devil wins because the political game is a devilish game. The devil wins. So as long as nations are out there voting for people, they are voting for evil. There is no space. There's very little space for good within the political space anyway. So people who are so political have to have that natural proclivity toward evil. But can we necessarily call those people evil people? Can we look at a whole generation of people and call them evil and say that's an evil generation? I think we can. We absolutely can. But it does not mean that within that evil generation, we don't have people who are well-intentioned, those people will be there. They'll always be there. But that attraction to evil is the downfall of a people. People may want to make themselves out to be victims, but the truth is, no, there are no victims. People make choices, and people make very foolish choices out of that evil within their own heart. They make terrible choices, and those choices come back and bite them in the ass. That's exactly what happens within societies, because we do have evil generations in existence that are generating evil. Just generally, everything that they try to do is based in evil. So it'll always be an evil result, or a negative result, or a result that does not help the people. And the people continue to see themselves spiraling into this never-ending situation where there's just continual degeneracy, unending degeneracy. The degeneracy does not actually come to an end where you now just have just ashes and there's nothing there. It just continues to degenerate, and we may never see the end of it, or perhaps we will. But the fact of the matter is, when I look at the reality of our people, where our people are, it is a very, very precarious state. It is a mass psychosis that is yet to be studied, that is yet to be addressed, because we address the psychosis in individuals, but we have not addressed the mass psychosis that is happening within our society, within our societies, even globally. But we don't have to go out into the world. Let's look at our own society. Just a simple thing as going outside and you're walking down the road. Look at what is happening around you. You look at the pollution, from noise pollution and just the destruction of the environment, the littering, the destruction of the infrastructure, the driving. It's insane, right? This has been normalized. That insanity now, that's normal. See, when certain things become normalized within a society, then yeah, you're probably looking at mass psychosis. That has to be addressed, and the people have to say, hold on a minute, slow down, wake up. What the hell are you doing within this society? Do you realize that you are actually destroying the society just because of the way you think? Just your mentality is destroying the society. Just how you think. You think certain things are okay. Public urination, public defecation, all of these things. How then do you get rid of that? The way people drive on these roads and so on, the potholes everywhere, things that are not being addressed by the municipalities, the state of the cemeteries, all of these things put together. It's a jungle, adding up to mass psychosis. It's madness within the people. That has to be addressed if ever we are going to be a normal, functioning society. If ever we're going to get to that point, then we have to address that mass psychosis. And mass psychosis has happened in history. We know that back in the Hitler times, when he was murdering the Jews and so on, all of that stuff that is alleged in history, all of those things, you see that came from madness within the people. Neighbors were killing neighbors. People that lived together before had started to turn on each other because the thing, the mind had snapped within the people. They had lost it, but they came out of it, and they started to rebuild their society again. So I suppose looking at a lot of these examples of places where there was mass psychosis and people kind of came back from it, if that's possible, then it's possible here as well. We can wake up from that and we can rebuild. But it's a matter of perhaps a very radical event taking place and then reshaping the minds of the people. It may be trauma. It may be that we haven't experienced enough to wake us up or wake the people up and make them realize that they really have lost it and they really need to come back to their senses. That may need to happen, but that's very unfortunate that it will take such a thing for the people to ever really come back to their senses and realize the folly of their ways, the error in their ways. It'd be sad if it has to take that horrible event within our society. The mass psychosis is really it's a component of that fascination with evil, that proclivity toward what is evil, that attraction to the evil personas, why the evil personas become the heroes. What has been the process that led the heroes to become people who embody a certain evil within them? Why is it that those people are admired and loved? It reminds me of the prophet Jeremiah. He came out and he said, why do the evil prosper? When I was growing up, I really had that question, and it was inspired by my readings of Jeremiah then. Why do the evil prosper? When I heard Jeremiah say that, it touched me because young as I was able to look out into the world and see the truth in what Jeremiah was saying. I saw it as a reality around me because I was starting to understand more about how the world worked. And I said to myself, yeah, Jeremiah is right to ask those questions. Why do the evil prosper? Why? So that's the time that we are in as well, where the evil prosper. The evil have most of the money. They bag all the money. They bag all the women. All of that. The evil do. And we are asking, just as Jeremiah asked, why do they prosper? Now, one can say, well, Jeremiah was a hater. Well, but Jeremiah was not a hater. He was a prophet. So, if we're seeing the same thing, we're seeing what the prophet saw. The evil people within a society just prospering. What they do, what the things that they touch, they succeed. And the good man there's no place for good within our societies no more. If you're not corrupt in some way, you can't hope to make it. Because then that means that you are going to be surviving only on what you make. But what you make at a job is not going to be enough to sustain you, at least in your mind, in the way that this world is built up. That money will never be enough in that type of society. So people turn to evil. They turn to corruption and so on as a means to survive. But then that corruption can hurt the larger society. That's that ripple effect that's going to end up with a child not being able to receive health care or a mother not being able to receive the health care and so on. So the ripple effect of corruption often is the death within society, the people who die needlessly because they did not have what they needed, because somebody somewhere within the system was able to take that away in a way that leads to loss of life. So you can logically explain what is happening, all the terrible things that are happening within society, and you can logically link them to the corruption that is occurring within that society. So yeah, we are really in the quandary, and I've noticed that of late, people are also trained, manipulated into being attracted to garbage. The evil and the garbage, it goes side by side. There's no improvement in society because the people that are looked up to as the teachers, as the leaders of the people, don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're fake. They're liars. There are people who are just looking for followers. That's why they got that clickbait thing, clickbait everywhere, in order to get your attention so that actually you do not allow your mind to focus on what is real, follow what is real, and have the patience enough to understand something. People want to understand something in 5 minutes. It's going to take years sometimes to have a handle on certain ideas or concepts that can change your life. It takes time. Your life cannot be changed in a minute. But somehow people believe that to be possible. And they spread themselves thinly over 1,000 influencers who they allow a space in their head. That's some of the mental trash that's out there that people just pick up and put in their own heads. There's a lot of that trash out there. Garbage. So people are fumbling through garbage when they go on YouTube or on TikTok, wherever they're going. It's like you're a vagabond fumbling through garbage. But you actually think that you're doing something real special with your little phone, and you're going through all that garbage. You're not focused, And yes, of course, sometimes you have to fumble through things. But I'm not just fumbling through garbage. Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to really, explore this idea of the people's attraction to what is evil. Yeah. That's something to think about. I want to thank you for your time and for giving this video a listen. Have a lovely, wonderful day ahead of you. Peace.